Morning, everyone. It's great to be here with you today, and let me add my voice to those before me in congratulating the CommsDay team on bringing us all here together, the wholesale community together. It's important we do that. It's important that we have a wholesale industry specific event, and so kudos to the CommsDay team for recognising that and giving us that platform. Taking advantage of that platform, it's my pleasure today to offer an Optus perspective on the challenges we jointly face and share some of the ways that Optus Wholesale is working to deliver better services for our service provider partners. Optus Wholesale has always been the champion of wholesale in our industry. As the first challenger in the Australian telecoms market, Optus has pursued a classic challenger strategy from day one, which aggressively embraces wholesaling. Born to bring choice and competition to the market for the first time in 1992, Optus has been committed to opening up its mobile and fixed networks to other service providers since then, recognising that choice and competition is necessary for the market to be healthy and thrive. In no better way is that demonstrated through to this day than by the maintenance of our non-discriminatory approach to wholesaling and network. That is to say, service provider partners across the entirety access the entirety of the Optus mobile network. In other words, service provider partners get the same Optus network that is taken to market directly by Optus's retail businesses. Optus is proud and recognises that distinction with others. By offering unfettered access to our 4G and 5G networks, Optus Wholesale guarantees service provider partners can also benefit from the huge investment Optus has made in Australia over the years, now totaling over $40 billion in critical infrastructure through to May 2023, and allow them to compete on a level playing field without any network restrictions. We believe this is the hallmark of a good wholesale partner and see it as important today as it was at the birth of competition in our marketplace. But the Australian telecommunications landscape has been transformed in that time, driven by incredible technological innovations that have fundamentally altered the way we connect, communicate and engage. Australian mobile internet networks continue to be upgraded as underlying technology advances, the demand for data grows, and the range of digital services expands. And not to be too parochial about it, Australia, this room, does telco infra pretty well. Despite the vast size of our country and relatively small population, Australia ranks 12th for median mobile speeds of approximately 92 megabits per second, according to the Speedtest Global Index. This is ahead of comparably sized nations like the US and Canada, but also ahead of nations where population densities are a lot more favourable to building telco infra, like in Singapore. This is not an Optus only point, but acknowledges that across all network operators in Australia, quality infrastructure is put in place to deliver Australians with a comparatively high quality of service, because we all jointly recognise how fundamental that connectivity is to the Australian economy. To personalise that outsized role, the outsized role our sector plays in the lives of Australians, I like saying it's no overstatement to say, picture of my daughter on there, forgive me, no overstatement to say that there are fewer things more important in our lives than this thing. It might be a bit sad to put as explicitly as that. But as I say to my kids when they are in the room and not just on the screen, and maybe only to avoid hurting their feelings, there's nothing more important in a practical sense to my life than this, perhaps than any other thing in my life that doesn't have a heartbeat. It fuels economic growth, productivity, and is the driving force in connecting people, businesses, enabling innovation and improving lives. Correspondingly, the telecommunications sector has seen exponential growth in data usage and the proliferation of new digital services. But unfortunately, what has not kept pace with the skyrocketing usage and data on these things, on our networks, has been our collective ability to charge for it. As speeds and data capacity have grown in leaps and bounds, the reality is that prices haven't risen in line with that growing value they're delivering to us all. In fact, we've collectively conditioned the market in the main to expect more for less, and are imperiling our continuing ability to sustain that quality infra I talked about, and the investment levels commensurate with building it that we have all become so accustomed to. And this goes to the heart of our challenge. This recent Venture Insights report, you may have seen, demonstrates the point dramatically, finding that despite dramatic improvement in capacity, the CPI index for telecommunications hardware and services has fallen 24.6% since June 2012, while the overall CPI index has risen 32% over that same period. In simpler terms, for the non-economists in the room, including myself, everything else in Australia has gotten more expensive, perhaps as you might expect, over 10 years, except for the price of the bundle of services provided by our industry, which has comparatively fallen 24%. Put another way, telco services are underpriced by that gap. The price lift implied by those 56 percentage point difference is the price lift that, had our industry risen prices in line with the general economy, we would be able to be monetising and valuing today. The incongruity is stark. I said this device, our services, so crucial and core to the economy that is benefiting from the digitalisation and digital services that ride upon it, has been undervalued by those of us who provide it. As this period, which included the pandemic, begins to recede into memory, we must jointly face into some of the underlying structural challenges the industry is facing and the comparative softening in industry income. We need to work towards fostering a more sustainable sector that has the firepower to continue investing in that quality infra, in that connectivity that provides the right business and service outcomes. In fact, we must push back against some of our complacency that has seen this type of outcome persist for too long, precisely at a time when more investment, not less, is required to meet that social contract that we all have in this room with the Australian economy and the Australian community to provide quality digital infrastructure in a 5G world. Venture Insights has also done some work on that front, putting it even more starkly that the industry's ROIC and ROIC performance has been weak in recent years and will require significant revenue growth to attract more capital to the industry. More simply, telecommunications businesses need to be more profitable to continue to invest. And again, this is not a network operator only point. It applies equally to non-network operators. There are hardly rivers of gold in our MVNO community or in our fixed service provider community at the moment, in the same way that the network operators are battling return and profitability issues. It's not just me, it's not just Venture Insights questioning industry returns and profitability. For those of you in the room, the CommsDay aficionados, there are going to be any CommsDay aficionados in this world that'd be in this room perhaps, you would have read many times on this theme in the last 2 months alone, including but not exclusively the TM Forum CEO highlighting poor global telco returns and dramatically calling time and invoking what he called a code red for the industry. The Macquarie Technology Group CEO referring, I thought quite presciently, that 3G was perhaps the last time the industry in Australia adequately captured the value of its investments. And Optus's own Andrew Sheridan continuing to wave the flag on network cost sharing and the need for OTTs to contribute to the sustainability of the very infrastructure that delivers their services. If you don't mind me saying, what else is the never-ending debate about the NBN, even in the week that we finally solve the SAU? What else is that never-ending debate about, if not a disagreement on how to best share reduced industry margins? All of these are only slightly different perspectives on the same theme. We need to consider strategies to address longer-term profitability challenges. The solution, of course, is multifaceted. As Optus's Vice President of Wholesale and Satellite, my focus and that of my team is to do what we can through supporting service provider partners and making them more successful in the market by adding value to their businesses. Ultimately, this will benefit them, of course, and through them, more importantly, Optus. We see this as being done three ways: by supporting them to grow their revenues and succeed in new customer segments, by helping them become more effective and lowering their costs, and by delivering superior customer experience outcomes and offering them non-price differentiators to help reduce churn. To go to the first of these, finding new customer segments to pursue is vital in a highly penetrated and mature market. In mobile, Optus Wholesale believes that fixed wireless access utilising the 5G network presents one such rare opportunity. Delivering fixed broadband-like speeds and data allowances to customers with the flexibility of a mobile service, Optus Wholesale offers this capability across its 4G and 5G networks, and increasingly does so as it builds out its 5G network beyond the current operational 3,500 5G sites. Fixed wireless access has been a successful product for network operators and service providers who benefit from access to it in every market where it's been launched, as service providers are able to market to specific customer segments who need portable solutions or don't want to deal with the hardware or hard work of a fixed installation. Fixed wireless access needs not be the sole domain of network operators, and Optus Wholesale partners can now target these customers with access to it, customising speed plans to appeal to different customer needs. Similarly, in the fixed market, we see potential for service provider partners to better serve the few segments in that mature market that are exhibiting growth in that highly penetrated and evolved marketplace. In particular, Optus Wholesale sees a role for itself as the enabler of choice for service provider partners operating in the CPaaS, the Communication Platforms as a Service market, with solutions that enable voice, numbering services, and A2P messaging for SMS and MMS. The CPaaS market's growth is driven by volumes being generated by true omni-channel experiences that are belatedly and finally fulfilling their potential and therefore driving growth online as legacy traditional engagements are digitalised. Wholesale service provider partners too should be able to tap into that demand. I also want to cover our efforts to help service providers reduce their costs of doing business in whatever businesses they're currently in. For those in mobile, I'd like to reference eSIM as a Optus Wholesale case in point. Margins being so tight in a highly competitive mobile market, Optus Wholesale has focused and invested significantly in providing service providers with eSIM capability to begin removing complexity and costs from their businesses. In a mobile world of e-billing and digital services, the logistics involved in the physical distribution of a traditional plastic legacy SIM card is just about the only and last analog element left in the customer experience. It certainly remains a costly component of that customer experience and customer acquisition. Physical SIM card design, branding, acquisition, warehousing, handling, packaging, and postage represents a significant cost for service providers and could add anywhere up to $25 per service to already high acquisition costs by our own internal estimates. In addition to the removal of that supply chain process and cost, eSIM can also help eliminate other indirect costs, including those associated with removing technical issues more prevalent with physical SIM cards. This is not to talk about the increased revenue associated with greater activation and lead conversion, no losing of SIMs in the post, no SIMs sitting unopened in envelopes, earlier revenue turn on, no SIMs lost in the post, no SIMs sitting in the envelope, and having to be resent 1, 2 and 3 times to turn on that customer and the revenue associated with it. And the increased competitiveness in sales from being able to target and instantly add new customers away from competitors. In short, tap into the benefits of being a truly digital service provider. eSIM is a strategic plank for any future mobile service provider, and the clock is ticking. Next year's Australian iPhone is likely to no longer have a SIM slot, and instead is likely to follow the Apple exclusive embrace of the eSIM that is now in place in many markets around the world. Not only is it likely to drive significant cost effectiveness, but it's an urgent action for mobile service providers willing and wanting to stay in the game. For both mobile and fixed customers, Optus Wholesale also has focused over the last 12 months on the cost benefits of increased digital operations, simplifying and streamlining our internal processes and functions to benefit partners. Across our operational corridors, these across quoting, ordering, service assurance and billing, Optus Wholesale has digitized numerous fixed functions and interaction points. As an example, today, service providers can exclusively submit faults and perform initial troubleshooting on fixed services through our wholesale portal, doing away forever with the concepts of service emails and calls between operation teams. It specifically makes service provider operations teams more effective, more cost effective, and makes their processes more streamlined through the elimination of various swivel chair tasks as they pivot between internal systems and ours. Additionally, our automation journey and process redesign has reduced the errors inherent in multiple operational touchpoints and dramatically reduced queuing and handling times. Such has been the impact that mean time to restore on the Optus Wholesale network has dramatically improved, reducing to just 6 hours for fixed data services. Consider that it was not long ago, and still common industry practice elsewhere, to merely recognise receipt of a fault in 6 hours. Finally, to go one better, in the benefit of our partners, we now offer TM Forum APIs, which directly integrate the Optus Wholesale operations into a service provider environment for mobile, fixed and billing issues. Lastly, Optus Wholesale adds value for its partners by working collaboratively to design and deliver services and features that improve the end customer's experience. By focusing on the retail CX, Optus Wholesale knows that our partners can make their services in turn far more compelling and stickier, directly reducing their churn. As an example, Optus Wholesale offers mobile backup services to mobile service provider partners who are additionally in the NBN residential game, allowing them to issue services and hardware to that market complete with mobile connectivity. This feature is not the sole preserve of MNOs and their home internet retail businesses, and Optus Wholesale knows the ability to ensure service continuity in the event of an NBN outage is as important to our partners as it is for anyone else competing in the NBN market, where product differentiation is already so limited. As part of our wholesale mobile product suite, Optus Wholesale offers 4G backup plans for NBN services that can be customised to serve either basic keep alive type functions with a 5 megabit per second speed profile, or premium optional functions with speeds up to 25 megabits per second. It's not just a focus on product features that Optus Wholesale has in this regard. We know that improving the service experience a partner can offer their own customer base directly goes to how well that retail customer will respond should a poor experience arise. Optus Wholesale is invested in bringing forward and bringing powerful data analytics to our partners to provide greater network performance insight directly to partners and their customer service teams. The simple removal of unnecessary and legacy industry divisions between a network operator and a wholesale partner can make customer service teams more effective by eliminating many frustrating queries into the network operator. Ultimately, this empowers customer service teams, builds confidence in the retail service provider, further blurs the distinction the retail customer may make between their service provider and the underlying network operator, and leads to greater customer retention. Our recently launched customer experience management tool can provide customer service teams greater visibility of mobile operational performance, arming them with increased access to network maps, instant call and SMS analysis, the ability to drill down to tower level in the event of a network issue, and network speed data, to name only a few. This collective and additional insight provides a new layer of live and historical network performance information that better arms customer service teams with relevant experiential data. So, in closing, let me go back to where I started. And again, thank the CommsDay team for investing, as we do, in this room, in the wholesale sector, with the CommsDay Wholesale Congress. The wholesale sector has an important role to play in the overall health of the wider telco industry, including in its challenge with profitability. Optus Wholesale has always embraced its role in helping Australia to be a leading digital economy underpinned by world-class connectivity and infra. We remain as committed to our service provider partners and the wholesale sector in 2023 as we were in 1992. Many thanks.